It all started with a gift certificate. I always thought I was a good man, not perfect, but caring, attentive, honest. When my wife started to have back pain, I was the first to suggest finding her a masseur. She hesitated for a long time, saying that she did not trust other people's hands, but in the end, I found one, about whom all the reviews said, "Golden hands, very delicate, has an excellent approach to women." I even gave her a gift certificate, packed beautifully, added a postcard, "It's rest for you, care for you, you deserve it." She smiled and kissed me. And I didn't know then that these words would be the beginning of the end of our marriage. After the first session, she returned home smiling. She seemed to be really relieved, relaxed, in a good mood. I was happy, I thought, finally something good for her. But after a few weeks, I began to notice strange things. She began to prepare for a massage, like a date. She stood by the mirror longer. I chose underwear. I used the same perfume as on our anniversary. I asked, "Where are you going, for a massage or a photo shoot?" She laughed. "Well, do I have to go there in a robe? I'm also a woman." Sessions became longer, instead of an hour and a half, and one day she was delayed for 2.5. She came back silently, slightly flushed. She avoided eye contact, and then I saw a notification on her phone. The number is not saved, but the signature was, "How are you there, beautiful?" And then for the first time I felt something squeeze in me. I kept everything in myself for a few days. I thought maybe it was his customer service. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But my mind couldn't let go of those emojis. That's beauty. And the way she immediately hid the phone when she noticed that I was looking. One evening, when the children were already asleep, I said directly, "Who writes to you at 10:30 p.m. with hearts?" She was silent. Then very calmly, "It's just a masseur. He has such a style. He always writes like that to all clients. And since when are you a client who wears lace underwear there and stays for 3 hours?" Her eyes trembled for a second. She tried to turn everything into a joke. "God, are you jealous of the masseur? It's just a body, nothing more. And when your body is with him in the apartment for 2.5 hours, is it still just a massage?" Then she stood up abruptly. Instead of a response, aggression. "If you don't like me finally doing something for myself, that's your problem." I was not struck by her answer, and how easily she rejected my emotions, as if I were a stranger, and as if she doesn't care. I didn't scream after that conversation. I didn't break things. I didn't make a scene. But inside me, something cracked, and this crack began to spread every hour. I lay next to her at night, and her every breath seemed alien. What was once a home suddenly became a trap. I looked at the ceiling and asked myself, how long has she been lying? How many more times was it? And I just didn't see it. I've started to scroll through all the little things in my head in recent months, as she fled to the shower immediately after returning. How I took my phone with me even to the bathroom. How she stopped touching me just like that. How she avoided my eyes, but as if she didn't notice it herself. In the morning I couldn't look at her. When she smiled and said, "Can you pick up the bread if you pass by the store?" I heard something fake in my voice, like the role she plays. And at that moment, I felt that I no longer trusted. And when there is no trust, is there anything left? I realized that there was no point in asking more. She will either not tell the truth, or she will say so that it will make it even more painful. So I decided to find out for myself. I remembered how she once gave me a photo of the certificate in the messenger so that I could decorate it beautifully. There was a name, number, even the address where the massage is performed. I created a new account in the messenger, a fictional female name, and he wrote to him, "Hello, you were recommended to me. Can I sign up for a massage? I heard you only work with trusted clients." He answered almost immediately, "Hello, beautiful." There is always a place for you. I work individually. The atmosphere is as private as possible. No cameras, no extra eyes. I can make the first session as a gift if there is chemistry. Chemistry. The same word she said about our relationship in the early years. Now it's disgusting. I thanked and asked for the address, confirmed the date. I didn't know I was going there as a customer, like a man who wants to know the truth. I arrived an hour before the scheduled session. I parked away so I wouldn't be noticed. He got out of the car, put on the hood, and waited. My heart beat faster with each minute. I didn't know what to expect. Hugs, kiss, just how do they come together? But what I saw was worse. She got out of the taxi. High heels, a light coat, under which I know underwear. I remembered her because I bought her for her anniversary. She called the intercom. After a few seconds, he came out. In shorts and with a towel on the shoulder, smiling, too smiling. He hugged her, hand by the waist. She didn't withdraw. On the contrary, she kissed him on the cheek and whispered something in his ear. They entered the entrance. Together. I stood and didn't move. The fingers are squeezed so much that they are white. The throat was dry. Inside there is a wasteland and heat at the same time. I stayed there for another half hour. I just looked at the door, which was no longer opening. The truth was no longer hidden. I was standing on the opposite side of the street. His hands were shaking, but he took out the phone, enlarged the image. I turned on the recording. I filmed her as she entered, how he hugs her, how she laughs, how to put his hand on his chest. The apartment number is visible in the background. You can see his face, hers too. No doubts, no, did you come up with something? I wasn't going to use it right away, I needed the truth, to have the right to believe in myself and not to doubt, as I did for weeks. When they disappeared outside the door, I was sitting in the car for another 10 minutes. I looked at the screen. I scrolled through the recording, increased the frames. I was looking for a hint of shame in her eyes. He wasn't there, and it was at that moment that I decided that someone else would see it, not only me. I was sitting in the car with this video on my phone, not knowing what to do. Get on her directly, to make a scandal, print the photo and leave it on the bed. And then I remembered one conversation. Her mother once said, "I'm so proud of your relationship. You are the perfect man for her. She's so happy with you." These words now sounded like a mockery. And then I did an unexpected thing. I sent her a video. Her mother, no signatures, no emotions, just a file. The name is Your Daughter, 1740. 3 minutes later, the answer came. What is this? Is it true? I didn't answer, turned off the phone and left, not at home, not to her, and to the motel on the outskirts of the city, in a room without windows with dim light, to just not be with her, not with this life, not with this reality. I only turned on the phone this morning, 47 missed, from her mother, from mutual friends. And the first thing I saw was the message, "You destroyed my life. How could you? Don't forgive. Don't let's talk. Oh, you destroyed it." The following message was even worse. It was a mistake. You know, it didn't mean anything. It was just a moment of weakness. You could at least not put me in front of my mother. I read it again and again. Mistake, a moment of weakness, what lasted for weeks in the apartment with him in the underwear I gave. And then I wrote her only one thing. "And you destroyed ours." Nothing else. I blocked her. He later found out that her mother had come to her house. The lover no longer appeared in her life, at least for now. And I stayed in the motel, alone. For the first time in a long time, I was not afraid. Only silence, and for some reason, relief. The morning at the motel was strange. I woke up without an alarm clock, without the usual steps of the wife in the kitchen, without a child's "Dad, get up." It was quiet, very quiet, and this silence did not give peace. She didn't reassure. She seemed to turn off the sound in a movie that you know by heart, and suddenly you see that it is empty. I made coffee from the machine, ate a bar from the bag, and sat down by the window. I watched people rushing about their business. The couple downstairs argued outside the car. Someone kissed someone goodbye, and I'm like an empty shadow, just an observer. My whole life, which I built for years, broke down in a week. But I realized one thing. This is not the end. This is the stopping point, the moment when the old man died. And the new one is not yet born. 2 days later, I came back. Not because I forgave, not because I wanted to talk, and because there are my children, my home, my life, which has not yet been erased from the map. She was at home. I was sitting in the kitchen as usual, in the same robe in which I cooked pancakes every Sunday. I just didn't cook anything. I was just looking into a cup of tea. When I came in, I looked up, red, crying. I don't know where to start. And you don't have to, I replied. I took a cup of water, went to the room, looked at the children. They were asleep. I lay down on the couch. I turned on the TV, even though I didn't watch anything. I just wanted to make noise so I wouldn't hear myself. We didn't talk that night. They didn't touch it. They didn't breathe in the same rhythm as before. It was no longer a marriage. There were two people in a common space. One has the right to pain. The other is with a shadow of guilt, which does not yet know how to live with it. The next evening, she knocked on the room. She sat opposite. I was silent for a long time. I didn't help. I didn't push. She finally said, "It started by accident. I felt lonely. You were always busy." We stopped talking. I stopped feeling welcome. I looked at her and felt nothing, even anger. "And you decided to look for warmth in the hands of someone else's man. Who did I pay for your session myself?" She lowered her eyes. "I didn't want that. At first it was just flirting." He listened. He saw me, not as a mother, not as a woman who cooks borscht. "Like the woman you want, and you didn't think I might want you too, but you built a wall, not a bridge." She started crying, but I didn't move. These tears are no longer about love. These are tears of loss and shame, maybe sincere for the first time. "What do you want from me now?" I asked. She is quiet. "I don't know, just don't leave. Give me a chance." But I wasn't sure I wanted to stay. The next morning I got up before everyone else. I put coffee, packed things in a bag, no drama, no posts on social media, no farewell letters. I just opened the closet, took out my things, and felt something locked in my chest, not from pain, from clarity. I can't stay, even for the sake of children, even if she begs, because every look at her is a reminder. Every touch is the ghost of something that is already dead, and I don't want to be a man who lives next to me but doesn't live inside. She was standing at the door when I left. "You're not leaving us, are you?" she asked in a whisper. "I don't leave the kids," I said, "but I'm not your husband anymore, and not your savior." I went to my brother, temporarily, although I already knew it is not temporary. This is forever. The first days without her were strange, as if I was walking without skin. Everything around is too loud, too bright, too real. The brother's apartment was cramped, but free. I slept on the couch, brewed coffee myself, chose music myself, without thinking about whether it would say that it was depressive. For the first time in years, I felt alive. Lonely, yes, but alive. The kids came for the weekend. I didn't bring the conversation to my mother. I was not angry with them. I was just with them, in the park, with ice cream, with a constructor, in the cinema. I didn't touch her anymore. Even in messages, only dry things, schedule, school, children's things. And then, one evening, I just went out to the balcony and realized I managed. I went through the worst. And it didn't break. I lost my wife, but I got myself back. If you listen to this story to the end, I will tell you this. Cheating isn't just about sex. It's about devaluation, about the choice that someone chose not you when you were there, believed, built, gave. I thought for a long time whether I was guilty. Maybe little attention, maybe too much work. And then I realized that only the one who broke the contract was to blame. Someone who chose a short moment of desire instead of a long work of love. I didn't take revenge. He didn't destroy her life. I didn't do a show. I just went out with dignity. And if you are in a similar situation now, I will say only one thing. Listen to yourself. Don't let yourself be broken. And remember, it is better to be alone than next to someone who is able to betray you at the moment when you believe him the most. I didn't forgive, but I let go. And that is freedom.